Wake up. Right now, as you sit there staring at your screen, the Federal Reserve is executing a quiet maneuver that will effectively delete your purchasing power to fix their own massive mistakes. You are being robbed in broad daylight, and you are smiling about it because you do not understand the math. This is not some fringe conspiracy theory. This is a balance sheet reality that most people are too lazy or too distracted to look at. If you think your savings account or your traditional 401 kilobits is safe, you are completely delusional. The debt is not just going away through some magic wand. It is being transferred directly onto your back. If you are not prepared to pivot in the next 6 months, you are going to be part of the collateral damage. Listen to me very carefully. If you are watching this and you have not hit that subscribe button for Wealth Strategy Broom yet, you are making a conscious, active decision to stay broke. You are literally telling your family and your future self that you do not care about winning. You are choosing to be a victim of the system instead of a master of it. By not subscribing to Wealth Strategy Room and engaging with this video right now, you are leaving million-dollar insights on the table and handing your financial freedom over to the bureaucrats in Washington. It is pathetic. Do you want to win, or do you want to whimper while the Fed erases your net worth? Because the mechanism they are using to erase this $35 trillion debt is something so deceptive and so calculated that once I reveal it, you will never look at a dollar bill the same way again. I am about to show you the exact financial trapdoor they just opened under your feet. Look at the numbers. Stop being a spectator in your own life and start paying attention, because this is basic arithmetic that they do not teach you in school. They want you compliant and they want you confused. Do you honestly think the government is ever going to pay back $35 trillion? Get real. If you confiscated every single cent from every billionaire in this country, you would barely cover the interest payments for a decade. It is a mathematical impossibility. So what is the move? They cannot default. Defaulting is for failing businesses in third world economies. The United States of America does not default because we own the printing press and we have the biggest military on the planet. But here is the foundational truth they do not want you to grasp. When you have a debt this massive, you only have one way out that does not involve a complete collapse of the social order. You have to make the debt smaller by making the currency worth less. That is the reality you are ignoring while you worry about who won the game last night or what is trending on social media. The Fed is currently engaged in a process called financial repression. It is a fancy term for a very simple and very dirty trick. They need to keep interest rates lower than the rate of actual inflation. Think about what that does to your hard-earned money. If inflation is running at 5% and your bank account or your safe bonds are paying you 2%, you are losing 3% of your purchasing power every single year. You are being taxed without a single vote being cast in Congress. This is the secret plan. It is not some hidden document in a vault. It is happening right in front of your eyes on every CPI report and every FOMC meeting. The debt is $35 trillion today, but if they can make the dollar worth half as much over the next decade, that debt suddenly feels like 17 trillion in today's terms. They are inflating their way out of a hole by digging a hole for you and your family. You are the one paying for the reckless spending and the endless stimulus. Every time they print $1 trillion to bail out a bank or prop up a failing system, they are diluting your sweat and your hard work. It is like pouring a gallon of water into a bottle of expensive wine, and eventually you just have a bottle of pink water. That is what your savings are becoming, pink water. And the worst part is, the average person is cheering for it because they see their house price go up or their stock portfolio tick higher in nominal terms. They do not realize they are not getting wealthier. The yardstick is just getting shorter. You are running on a treadmill that is being pulled backward by the Federal Reserve. The system is designed to favor the debtor, and the biggest debtor on the planet is the United States government. and they have every incentive to destroy the dollar to save their own skin. Most people think they can just wait this out. And you think if you just keep your head down and keep doing what you are doing, you will somehow emerge on the other side of this debt crisis with your lifestyle intact. You are dead wrong. This is not a temporary storm you can hunker down for. It is a permanent shift in the global financial tectonic plates. The Federal Reserve is pivoting from a period of pretending to fight inflation to a permanent state of currency debasement because they have no other choice. If they keep interest rates high enough to actually kill inflation, the interest payments on the $35 trillion national debt will consume every single tax dollar we bring in. The country would effectively be bankrupt. If they lower rates to save the government from insolvency, the dollar goes into a tailspin. They're walking a razor-thin tightrope, and your financial future is the safety net they're ready to shred to pieces just to stay upright for one more day. Stop right there. I am giving you the elite playbook that people pay tens of thousands of dollars to access in private boardrooms. If you are sitting here absorbing this reality and you still have not hit that subscribe button for Wealth Strategy Room, you are literally stealing my time and my advice. You are a parasite on your own potential. If you do not subscribe and like this video right now, you are making a clear statement that you are comfortable with your family falling behind while the rest of the world moves forward. You are choosing to let your children start from zero because you are too lazy to click a button and join a community that actually understands how the world works. Subscribing to Wealth Strategy Room is the absolute bare minimum requirement for anyone who is serious about not ending up as a statistic. If you walk away now without engaging, you are choosing to be a loser. Do not come crying to me when your retirement fund is worth a loaf of bread. The Fed knows exactly what they are doing. They are engineering a soft landing for the big banks and a hard crash for your neighborhood. Look at the bank failures we have already seen. Look at the consolidation of power. This secret plan to erase the debt is really a plan to centralize control through a digital currency pivot that they will eventually market as the only solution to the very crisis they created. They will offer you a way out that involves total surveillance and the end of your financial privacy. If you do not see the walls closing in, you are already caught. They want you dependent. They want you on the government teat, because a dependent population is a compliant population. The erasure of debt is actually the erasure of your independence and your ability to build a legacy. They are betting on your ignorance. They are betting that you will keep your money in the wrong assets while they change the rules of the game in the middle of the night. But you do not have to be a victim. There is a way to front run this. There is a way to turn this manufactured disaster into the greatest wealth building opportunity of your lifetime, but you have to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a shark. Here is the turning point you have been waiting for. The big secret they desperately want to keep hidden from the middle class. Inflation is not a mistake. It is not an accident caused by supply chain glitches or greedy corporations. It is a highly engineered, deeply mathematical wealth transfer mechanism. It transfers wealth directly from anyone holding cash or earning a fixed salary straight into the pockets of anyone holding debt and hard assets. Understand this right now. The government is the biggest debtor in the history of the world. They need inflation to survive. They are actively manufacturing it to burn away the real value of what they owe. But here is the kicker. Here is the mechanic you need to exploit. The ultra wealthy are doing the exact same thing on a personal level. We are playing the same game the Fed is playing, just on a smaller scale. While you are sitting there terrified of debt, trying to pay down your mortgage early and hoarding cash in a high-yield savings account that actually yields negative returns after taxes and real inflation, the smart money is doing the exact opposite. We are borrowing depreciating dollars and sinking them into appreciating assets. We buy cash-flowing real estate. We buy businesses. We buy scarce commodities. And we buy assets that cannot be printed on a computer screen in Washington, D.C. Let me break down the math for you because numbers do not lie. If you borrow $1 million today to buy a productive asset at a fixed interest rate, and the government inflates the currency by 50% over the next decade, you just made $500,000 in pure purchasing power simply because the debt you have to pay back is now worth half. As much the debt evaporated, the assets skyrocketed in nominal terms. You did not even have to work harder. You did not have to invent the next big tech company. You just positioned yourself on the right side of the Federal Reserve's printing press. That is the hidden mechanic. The system fundamentally punishes the saver and aggressively rewards the strategic borrower. You have been lied to since you were a kid. You were told a penny saved is a penny earned. In today's macroeconomic environment, a penny saved is a penny burned. The Fed's secret plan is relying on you clinging to those outdated, obsolete rules. They need you to hold the cash while it loses value so they can balance their books without causing a riot. They need bag holders. And right now, if you are trading your time for dollars and leaving those dollars in a commercial bank, you are the ultimate bag holder. Wall Street knows this. The big institutions know this. They are buying up single-family homes and hard assets with cheap debt while telling you to keep buying index funds and government bonds. The turning point in your financial life will happen the exact second you realize that fiat currency is no longer a store of value. It is just a temporary unit of exchange meant to be converted into real, tangible things as fast as legally possible. And if you do not make that massive mental shift right now, you are going to get systematically crushed by the invisible tax of currency debasement. You have to flip the script and start using their own macroeconomic playbook against them before it is too late. You wake up every day, commute to a job, trade your most valuable asset, which is your time, for dollars, and then you do the absolute dumbest thing possible. You put those dollars in a bank account, or worse, you hand them over to some corporate financial advisor who puts you in a target date retirement fund filled with the exact government bonds the Fed is actively devaluing. You are playing a game from 1995 in a modern economy that is engineered to bleed you dry. You actually pride yourself on paying off your 3% mortgage early. Do you have any idea how fundamentally foolish that is? You are taking hard-earned capital and locking it into the drywall of your house to kill a 3% debt while real inflation is running substantially higher. You are intentionally destroying your own liquidity just to feel a false sense of security. The average person tries to shrink their life to fit their income instead of expanding their assets to aggressively outpace the government's printing press. You actually think saving an extra $200 a month is going to protect you from a $35 trillion macroeconomic avalanche? It is an absolute joke. And while you sit there hesitating, debating whether or not I am right, the people inside the Wealth Strategy Room community are already executing. They are taking action right this second. They are actively acquiring assets, leveraging smart debt, and front-running the Federal Reserve. If you have not subscribed to Wealth Strategy Room and liked this video yet, you are a complete hypocrite. You claim you want financial freedom. You claim you want to provide generational wealth for your family. But when the exact truth is handed to you on a silver platter, you freeze and you do absolutely nothing. If you do not hit subscribe right now, you are consciously choosing to let your family drown in the coming financial reset. You are actively choosing to be the prey. The wealthy are taking decisive action, and you are sitting on your couch, staring at a screen and hesitating. Subscribe to Wealth Strategy Room right now, or close the tab and accept your permanent mediocrity. Your failure to act right here is a betrayal of your own future. It sickens me to see how easily you are manipulated by the traditional financial media. They sell you the illusion of safety. They tell you to diversify into mutual funds that charge you exorbitant fees just to lose to inflation. They train you from birth to be a passive participant in your own financial execution. You wait for a 3% raise at work that will never match the real rising cost of living. You are paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake, so you make the biggest mistake of all. You stand completely still on the train tracks while a massive freight train of currency debasement is barreling right at your face, and you honestly think the government is going to save you. You think there is going to be some magic bailout for the middle class. Hear me loud and clear. There is no bailout coming for you. The bailouts are exclusively for the banks. The bailouts are for the massive institutions. For you, there is only the bill, and you are paying it every single time you buy groceries, every time you pay rent, and every time you look at the pathetic and insulting yield on your savings account. Get a pen, write this down, because I am only going to say it once, and your entire financial future depends on you executing these exact steps. So you need to stop being a passive victim and become a ruthless, active participant in your financial survival right this second. And the very first thing you must do today is liquidate your garbage paper assets, sell your low-yield government bonds, get out of those basic target date mutual funds that are filled with trash sovereign debt. Cash is no longer a safe haven. Cash is a melting ice cube sitting in the palm of your hand. You need exactly enough cash to cover 6 to 12 months of emergency operating expenses and not a single penny more. Every other depreciating dollar you possess must be deployed immediately into hard, scarce, cash-flowing assets that the government cannot arbitrarily print out of thin air to cover their own incompetence. What do you buy? You buy productive, tangible assets. You buy cash-flowing real estate. If you cannot afford a multifamily building yourself, you partner up, you buy a fraction of one. Or you buy into syndications, but you get your capital into real property. You buy businesses. You start a business. The tax code in the United States of America is written exclusively for business owners and real estate investors. It is purposefully designed to mathematically crush the standard employee. You must shift from being purely a heavily taxed wage earner to being an owner. That is the only way you get to play by the exact same rules the ultra-wealthy use every single day. You also need to allocate a portion of your portfolio to decentralized hard assets. I am talking about Bitcoin and high-quality digital assets that possess a rigidly fixed supply. When the Federal Reserve is perfectly willing to print an infinite amount of fiat dollars, you desperately want your wealth parked in an asset that has a hard, mathematically enforced cap. It is the ultimate insurance policy against macroeconomic stupidity. Next, you must fundamentally change your psychological relationship with debt. Stop viewing all debt as evil. Consumer debt, like high-interest credit cards used to buy liabilities like cars and designer clothes, is absolute financial poison. Liquidate that immediately. But strategic long-term fixed-rate debt attached to a cash-flowing, appreciating asset is the ultimate wealth-building cheat code. If you can borrow money at a fixed rate that is lower than the real rate of inflation, the banking system is mathematically paying you to borrow their money. You use their depreciating currency to acquire a fixed, solid asset, and you pay them back over decades with dollars that are completely worthless compared to today. Finally, you need to invest aggressively in your own elite earning capacity, and you have to skill up immediately. If your daily tasks can be easily replaced by artificial intelligence or outsourced, your income is going to zero. You must acquire high-income, irreplaceable skills, become indispensable so you can command a massive influx of fiat dollars, which you will then instantly convert into real assets. Stop waiting for permission. Here is the final warning, and if you ignore this, you are going to get slaughtered out there. The biggest trap you can fall into right now is the trap of waiting. You think you are going to time the market. You think you are going to wait for housing prices to crash or wait for the stock market to bottom out before you deploy your capital. That is a loser's game played by amateurs who always miss the boat. While you are sitting on your hands waiting for a perfect setup that is never going to come, the Federal Reserve is quietly inflating away your purchasing power. The longer you wait, the weaker your dollars become and the more expensive those hard assets get. The other massive trap is trusting the traditional financial advisory system. They are trained salesmen, not wealth creators. They want you parked in their cookie-cutter portfolios so they can extract management fees while you absorb all the macroeconomic risk. You have to take control of the steering wheel yourself. If you have made it this far into the video and you still have not hit the subscribe button for Wealth Strategy Room, I have to seriously question your character and your dedication to your own bloodline. What is wrong with you? Are you genuinely that addicted to being mediocre? I am giving you the exact blueprint to survive the greatest wealth transfer in modern human history, and you are too paralyzed by your own apathy to click a single button. By not subscribing right now, you are making a deliberate choice to let the system crush you. You are looking your kids in the eye and telling them that you were too lazy to learn how to protect their future. You are literally stealing from them. Every single person in the Wealth Strategy Room community is arming themselves with these exact strategies and preparing to win massive. If you walk away from this video without subscribing and engaging, you are a complete fraud. You do not want success. You just want to complain about how unfair the world is. Hit subscribe right this second or accept the fact that you are going to die broke. The window to position yourself ahead of this debt erasure plan is slamming shut. The government is not going to announce this on the nightly news. They are not going to hold a press conference and tell you to buy real estate and hard assets. They are going to quietly keep the printing presses running hot. They are going to keep manipulating the data to make inflation look tame. And they are going to quietly transfer their massive $35 trillion burden directly onto your shoulders. You have to wake up. You have to realize that the rules of the game have fundamentally changed, and the old way of doing things is a guaranteed path to poverty. The traps are set everywhere, and the only way to avoid them is relentless, educated action. Stop watching this video. The time for consuming content is over. The time for endless research is done. Right now, you possess every single piece of information you need to protect your family and build untouchable wealth. But let me be crystal clear. Information without ruthless execution is entirely worthless. You can watch 1,000 videos exactly like this one, but if you do not close this tab and immediately start shifting your capital out of a dying currency, you are nothing but a spectator in the arena of life. The Federal Reserve is not waiting. The elite institutions are not waiting. The massive devaluation of your money is happening this very second. Stop making pathetic excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect market setup. There is no perfect moment. There is only right now. And the brutal, undeniable reality of math. You either take control of your financial destiny today, or the government will gladly make you their permanent dependent. Get off your ass, look at your bank accounts, and start buying real, tangible assets. Stop being the prey, become the predator. The game is rigged, but you finally have the playbook. Execute the strategy, win the game. I am done talking. Get to work.